Next up, OTAs and then training camp as well. And we did get a tweet, so I know you've written about it. Let's take a look at the tweet from J.C. Tretter, Brown center, also president of the Players Association. And you see, taking back control of the offseason now more than ever, whether it's popular or not, it is a win for the players. So Mary Kay, take us through, I know you're familiar with this. He kind of wrote a letter on the Players Association front page that you can see as well. What do we expect from OTAs, training camp? And I know you said you wrote about the Tretter tweet as well. Take us through some of that.
Well, over the weekend, I wrote that a little bit of an update about what's going on this week and then starting next week with OTAs. Now, they are allowed to be on the field this week, but instead of doing that in phase 2, which started today and goes through this week, they're keeping it all virtual for the veterans. They're not getting it out there on the field for the veterans this week, but they will start those OTAs next week. And they have 10 OTA practices, and then they go into their mandatory minicamp, which is June 15th through the 17th. Now, the Browns have already collectively decided that they are not participating in these voluntary workouts, and that's what the OTAs are. That's really what the rookie minicamp was too, but the rookies all decided to participate. So now when they start OTAs next week on the field, it's going to be interesting to see who shows up and who doesn't. When we talked to Greg Newsome, he said he's talked to some guys that are kind of itching to get here and want to do something. So maybe some guys will come, maybe some won't. You've got guys that are rehabbing injuries. Those guys have been in and out of the facility already, so maybe some of those guys will be around. That includes guys like Grant Delpit, Greedy Williams. You got a guy like Andrew Billings coming off of a COVID-19 opt-out. Will he show up? I don't know. I'm not sure what to expect during OTAs, which start next week. As you mentioned, J.C. Tretter wrote a letter today on the NFLPA website saying that guys are taking charge of this. And they're saying, we don't need to do these in-person voluntary workouts. We stayed healthier last year, not doing them. But it's been a little controversial because you had a player like Jawan James, the tackle from the Denver Broncos, who suffered a ruptured Achilles tendon or a torn Achilles of some sort, out for the season. And the Broncos now don't have to pay him his $10 million because that did not happen on team property. However, as JC pointed out, most guys work out in the offseason somewhere other than those 9 weeks of the offseason program with their teams. They're all working out on their own. So this is not a new phenomenon, and sometimes they get injured. So I think they're still trying to reinforce the fact that we don't want you guys showing up for these voluntary in-person workouts.
And you certainly understand the players' point of view. I understand the team's point of view. They're going to have to come to some agreement somewhere in the middle in all likelihood.
Yeah, and it might be kind of late for the OTAs part of it because I think as many as 18, 19 teams have already collectively decided that they are not coming to those workouts. And I don't know if some of those guys will show up anyways. But the thing to look to next would be the mandatory minicamp June 15th through 17th. To get it eliminated, that would have to be collectively bargained because right now it's in the CBA that they have this mandatory minicamp. But the NFLPA doesn't want players to have to do that. They want to give them their offseason, stay on their own, stay healthy, and show up for training camp at the end of July, beginning of August. So that's one thing to keep an eye on.